Thomas, it's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it! Well,
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
champions.
Good evening, everyone. It's the African Gooner, and you're at the Arsenal Lounge. Gonna do the Friday Fan Cam show today and be your host. Unfortunately, Shaheen and Lev aren't going to be joining us tonight, but we have some wonderful guests that I'd like to introduce. We have on my right-hand side, Mr. Suave. Enrico, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you? Real?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us. We have the Disky Assembly coming all the way from California.
What's up, bro? What's up? How you doing?
What's up? What's up? And we have Brandon, AFC TV. How are you doing, man? Good to see you back.
Oof, been better, but that's Arsenal for you, mate. That's Arsenal.
Definitely, and we're going to definitely get into this. I think we're all still recovering from last night, and there's a lot of passion and raw emotions still left in some of us. So I want to start off by going through basically the match analysis, the reaction from last night's game, and we'll start with you, Enrico. You know, how are you feeling? What did you think of the performance last night?
The performance in general, I think when we saw the lineup, I would say most of us were quite content. Obviously, Bellerin came in and right back. William came in on the right. So I wasn't too fussed with the lineup. But then when the game started, I think I saw a team with no urgency. And when you think this is such a big game, especially in our season when the Premier League season is pretty much finished, right? I can't see us finishing anything above 8th, right? I was expecting a bit more, and I saw some players on that pitch yesterday that they showed no interest. Yeah, we can say that the Liverpool game maybe was on their mind because of the performance and the overall game. But when you got such a big game in the only competition that can guarantee us Champions League football, I was expecting a bit more from the players. I just saw too many players disinterested, and overall it left me with a sour taste in my mouth, I'll be honest. And I even woke up, and today I woke up even angry. I don't know, man. It was just a really bad performance. We did have our chances, the Lacazette chance, the Aubameyang chance, and the Saka chance. But overall, I think it was a really bad performance. So I don't know what you guys think, but that's my overall analysis of the game.
Yeah, no, Enrico, that's a fair assessment. And I mean, we spoke a bit earlier. I told you I wasn't able to sleep last night. I mean, just heartbreak, man, you know, over and over again, same story, same chapter. But the Disky Assembly, I mean, you've heard what Enrico's had to say. What did you think about last night?
Bro, I'm pissed. I hate this. I hate this feeling, fam. I hate this feeling. I don't know why. Every single time we do this, it's like the last 5 minutes of a game. It's like we just give it away. I don't know why. It's like we come into these big games. Everyone knows that Europa League is our only chance to do anything anymore, for players to come in, for us to progress next season. And they don't play. They don't play like Arteta says, oh, we're going to play like every game's a final. When's the last time you saw us play like every game, like a game was a final? What was the difference between our performance in the Liverpool game and this game was the fact that Liverpool actually have players that can score. These lot could have packed us. They could have put how many opportunities we were lucky to get the opportunities we had and still didn't finish them. Bro, if it was a better team, we would have been done. There was no, you would have thought that, okay, after the Liverpool game, they're going to show some fight. They're going to show something. I didn't see anything. And the fact that, okay, come off second half, you see Arteta walking down, he looks pissed and everything. You're like, okay, they're going to come back second half thing and they're going to do everything that they usually do and start scoring. Bro, it took the changes that he made so late in the game. 86 minutes we scored. He gave them 10 minutes to kind of do something. In those 10 minutes, we do it. We all elated, everything. Oh yeah, it's hunky dory, bro. Cedric, oh my God, bro. Like, this is the thing. It's always the people at the back passing up and down. I don't know why they want to do this. What the hell is the point of that? Why are they passing up and down at the back, bro? You even saw Gabriel's frustration. And I know every Arsenal fan had this moment where as soon as he hit the ball out, and I saw it was even a throw. It wasn't even a corner at that point. It was a throw in. But I just knew in my heart, I was like, that's it. He's done it. It's like that feeling that you just know that something's gonna happen. And it's like, have you ever, bro? I've been playing FIFA and it happens on these FIFA 90, like scripting, bro. It feels like Arsenal have scripting against us every single game. Every single game. And I don't know. I actually don't know whether it's the managers, the players, or who it is, bro, because they all need a slap. They all need a
100%.
slap at this
And
point.
I hear your points. I guess a question I have in regards to what you said is, is the reason that we're passing at the back to entice the opposition to press us and then break out of the press and counterattack and score a goal? Is that
With
what
3
Arsenal
minutes left, with 1 minute, 2 minutes left, you want to entice who? For what, bro? It's like, that's the thing. It's like in these moments, and in the Liverpool game, the last time I was on, we spoke about these individual errors that they make, where it's like the basics of football just go out of their heads, and I don't know. It's like they have one moment of glory, and then that's it. And you know what? There is also no one in the team when we're down or anything. Who does the team go to? Aubameyang, aka Travis Scott. Are they mad? Bro, there is no one that is like actually being a captain, that is doing something for the team and being like, okay, let's actually fight together for this thing. And like there's no one's there to tell everyone that something is not right. Like we're busy getting scared about Unai Emery. We can't even get past these guys. Bro, Unai Emery we're gonna be the biggest meme. Like it's done. It's done.
And we'll touch on your guys' reaction to next week, but we'll go to Brandon. And you've heard what the guys have had to say, and I know your feelings, and you're pretty much Arteta out. Was this the final coffin in the nail for him, for you, or are you still waiting for next week's performance?
I think you guys are being kind, personally. What I take from that game is embarrassing, pathetic, slow, lethargic. Didn't look like any of them actually really wanted to be there. It exposed this manager. He's complete and utter fraud. He's been built up to be this big thing, and he's really, really not. He's really not. You look at first half, for example, and I didn't even see a style of play. I thought our style of play was press high, try and win the ball high up on the pitch. I didn't see anybody pressing, but yet Arteta stood at the sidelines clapping like we're playing like prime Barcelona. And you can just tell by the way in which he took so long to make substitutions that he was happy with how the game was going. Yes, we had 3 big chances, but it was 3 big chances that wasn't necessarily created by us. It was just down to the fact that Slavia Prague are so crap defensively, and we couldn't take them. It's just embarrassing. It really is. I don't know where we are going as a football club. I really don't. The players need to hang their heads in shame. Personally, if it's me and I'm the owner of the football club, I'm getting rid of everyone. Everyone. That is, except from Kieran, Tierney, Thomas Partey, and the 3 youngsters, Martinelli, Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, and maybe Odegaard, if we can keep hold of him. Apart from that, everybody else gone. And that includes the manager, that includes Edu, that includes Vinay. Gone. They do not deserve to represent this football club. Simple as. They're not good enough.
I mean, you guys all bring up very fair points, and I can't disagree with many of the points that you guys have raised, but I think let's dig in deeper into the game, and let's start with your reactions on the starting lineup. Enrico, I mean, were you happy with the starting lineup? What did you want to see, if there were any changes that you wanted?
Do you know the thing about the starting lineup? I think we should have gone to back 3. The thing is, Cedric can do a job, a left back, but he's not a left back. And you can see that the way he plays. He always has to cut in on his right foot. Why can't we not go back to back 3? Have 3 of the back 3, Lennon go or Matt Ryan, whoever you want, and a midfield 4 of like Jacques and Partey and Saka or Cedric on the other side, but you still got the width, and obviously your front 3. And obviously we've just got the news last night about the Odegaard injury. So do we actually need number 10 now? We could play Smith-Rowe on the right. We could play Saka on the left, and maybe one of like a Martinelli or an Aubameyang or Lacazette through the middle. But overall in the lineup, there was a few players in the lineup that I didn't want personally. Willian, again, I'm not his biggest fan. I remember pre-match he was talking in the media saying how bad he's been this season, that he wants to improve things. But show on the pitch, you can say all you want in the presser, but you have to show on the pitch. And every time I see Willian on the pitch, I'll be honest, I don't think he was one of the worst players yesterday. But again, I didn't see that much of him, man. So for me, I don't know. I think the overall lineup, I didn't have that many issues bar Willian. Obviously, I'm a massive fan of Bellerin, but Chambers was out, and obviously, so he was the only option at right back. So apart from that, the lineup for me was an issue. I just think the overall performance was just a disgrace. Like, let's be real, it was an absolute embarrassment. And the thing is, what that really pisses me off, everyone, when the draw came out, right, everyone was like, oh, yes, we got Slavia Prague, not knowing that this is the same team that knocked out Leicester, a team that's better than us. And people are saying, oh, this should be an easy 3 points. We should go through, right?
Yeah.
They're still not a bad team. And yesterday, the players played like what the fans thought. Oh, this is going to be an easy win. We're going to go through anyway. These players did not seem to care yesterday. And for me, that game left me with more questions than answers. And I feel it's not for the first time this season I've been left with that feeling after the game. And I think there needs a lot of questions needs to be answered after that game as well, I think.
Yeah. Fair points, Enrico. And I mean, just before I go to the Disky, I mean, I wanted to say to everyone in the comments, thank you for joining us. Please like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to be here for about an hour, and in the last 20 minutes, we're going to open up the floor for you guys to join if you want and ask us some questions. But the Disky, I mean, you heard what Enrico had to say. What changes did you want to see, and what were you unhappy with in terms of the game plan and I guess the substitutions?
For me as well, yeah, Willian, don't do it for me. I don't know why I don't know why we don't. We see how Pepe performs in the Europa League. Why not start him? Give him that shot. And look, every time he comes on, he does something. Regardless of whether he messes up in the league and everything like that, when he comes on the Europa League, he actually does something. So start him. At least if he's doing that, why doesn't Arteta just do that? Okay, fine. You're gonna start Willian, sure. Why do you wait till the 70 whatever minute to bring them on, or where they have 10 minutes left to do something? If we bought all, because I did see a change when El Neni came in. He opened up the midfield a lot more. You saw that pass that he got through to Pepe as well. It's like, okay, if he knows that those changes are going to do something, why not do it earlier? Why are you sitting there for so long when even us as fans, we can just see it happening and we can see the capitulation and we're just not doing anything? Why is he so happy with it until the last few minutes? And then we can't even hold it. We still can't even hold it. Like, bro, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
know. I want to start Martinelli, start Pepe, bro. Just forget all of these other guys. I don't know what he has some like friendship with Willian. I don't know what it is, bro. I don't know what it is. I have no idea.
I feel like it's some type of ego. I think he signed him personally. He raved about him, and he seems to be persistent on playing him and like forcing him basically to perform, and it still hasn't happened. I want to go to Brandon, and I mean, we've talked about Martinelli before. We know how potent and how aggressive he is, and I mean, he comes on in the 72nd minute, and within a couple of minutes, he already has a shot almost on target. It was deflected. I mean, we hadn't seen any shots on target. I think it was one in the first half, one in the second half. I mean, what are your thoughts? What is the reasons that you can think of why this kid is not starting in front of Willian, who has been out of the team for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, he starts?
I can't think of any, mate. To be honest with you, we've called him for Martinelli for a long time now, a long time, because this kid, at least he shows heart, passion, fight, desire, which is more than what most of these players offer us anyway. So you might not have the quality, which we know Martinelli does have the quality, but you might not have the quality as a player, but at least show a bit of heart, passion, and fight. Martinelli does that every single time, even if he's having a bad game. You should be building a team around this kid, not, we're going to rest him, and then chuck him on for 10 minutes and then expect him to change the game. And you can tell that Mikel Arteta got his starting lineup wrong, whether it's players who we think shouldn't have started or other aspects of that, because when he made the substitutions, the game changed. And I looked at the first 10 minutes of that game. Right now, I'm not a massive fan of Aubameyang. He pissed me off this season because he doesn't actually look like he's interested. It doesn't look like he wants to be here. It looks like he's signed the contract and that's it. We're just going to sit, chill, Mesut Ozil Mark II type thing. But I looked at that first 10 minutes yesterday and Slavia Prague were playing such a high line defensively. It was a game built for Aubameyang. And if I can see that, why is Mikel Arteta not making the changes within the first 45 minutes when people are not following his instructions? You could see him on the sidelines telling Lacazette, Saka, all these players, press, press, press. If they're not following your instructions, drag them off, man. You're the manager. You are supposed to show a bit of authority. And then the other thing with the lineup as well is, once again, Rob Holding. Rob Holding comes straight back in the team. I get that we haven't really got anybody else, but I'd play Pablo Mari and Gabriel. Everybody says, oh, we can't play Pablo Mari and Gabriel together because they're both left-footed. How do you know? Have we actually seen them play a game together yet? They're arguably our two best centre-backs. Give it a try. It can't be any worse than Rob Holding and Hector Bellerin and all these players that he picked last night that have let him down consistently, week in, week out. How many of them players is he trusted in again in the biggest game of our season and they've let him down again? And the only person you can blame is Mikel Arteta because he picks them. He picks them players, you know? So, yeah.
I hear you, but I mean, he's not going to finish Lacazette's dinner. I mean, one-on-one, I mean, he has no control over that, right? But I definitely hear you. I think he made a lot of mistakes. I want to move into just getting a 30-second or 15 to 30-second reaction from each of you of how you felt when that goal went in. And is there any question marks on Leno? Because, you know, people are saying he should be doing a bit better. Let's forget about Cedric. We know, obviously, Cedric, I mean, you know, the first thing you learn in football is stay in front of your man, right? So, I mean, he really needs to foul you if he wants to get that ball. And Cedric was behind the man. So that was the first issue. But I want to focus a little bit on Leno. And obviously, I know Xhaka. I mean, I watched that replay and he's just standing marking nowhere and he closes his eyes and it's kind of that Michael Jackson thing he did a couple of, I think 2 seasons ago against Crystal Palace when he ducked completely, right? And the goal goes in. And so what were your feelings when that went in? Were you surprised? Were you shocked? Disappointed? I mean, you know, what are your thoughts? 15 to 30 seconds. Enrico, you can go first.
Do you know that goal reminded me of the game against Olympiacos at home? The last minute goal from El Arabi. Again, Arsenal cannot manage the game. We start panicking. We don't pass the ball. We start making stupid passes, passing from the back. Just boot the ball up. You've got 30 seconds. And all you do is that you're monkeying around at the back and put players under pressure and then make a mistake. That goal reminded me of the game against Olympiacos. And we've not learned our lesson. And it's been a year since that's happened. It's just not good enough, man. Leno, I think he's part to blame. I think, obviously, he was on the other side, so he's running to the other side to try to catch the ball. But the way he was, and that's not the first time Leno's made a mistake the past couple of weeks. I think the past couple of weeks has shown he seems a bit ropey. I think he is confident in his shot. It's just everywhere. Cedric, I don't know what he was doing. And even if that guy missed, it was a penalty because literally Cedric was manhandling the player. Again, it was so many errors. Not just from the goalkeeper, but from Cedric, the whole team. It's just not good enough, man. And when you're a team trying to aspire to win the Europa League and you're making errors like that in the last 30 seconds of the game, and you expect us to win this competition, boy, I don't know. I just knew it was gonna happen. I just knew it.
Deja vu.
Deja vu, man. It was deja vu, man.
Cool. And the Disky, I know you watched Troops' reaction, and I'm sure you empathize with him, and you have a lot of similar feelings. So how did you feel when that sucker punch came?
Bro, I'll tell you, I wasn't surprised. As soon as he passed it back to Gabriel, and then it went out for that throwing, and I saw Gabriel's face, like, why did you just do that? I was like, it's done. But then also Leno, Bro, what is with your hands, fam? How many times? It's just flying off his hand into the roof of the net. How many times does that happen? It's like, bro, just go to gym or something with your this guy. He has got no damn strength in his arms, bruv. His whole body flew back into the net. Like, what, bro? When I watch Troop's reaction, I watch Troop's reaction to make me feel better because I'm like, oh, at least we both feel it. Like I have to watch these watch alongs so I don't feel the shit alone. Like, what I was watching as well at that same time? I was watching on my screen, Arsenal, we're winning 1-0. On my roommate supports Man United. He's got Man United up there. They get the penalty 2-0. I'm thinking, okay, let's get another goal. I want to be on boom, 1-1, bro. I almost smashed the whole, I can't do this anymore, bro. If you're it's just, it's not right for me and my mental health and all of this. I need.
No, I feel your pain. I think we all feel your pain. And I mean, Brandon, we discussed before we jumped on here about the picture of Ty on the ground, and that really encompasses Arsenal fans around the world. And that has happened to us, let's say 5 times per season. It's not a one-time thing. It's a 5 to 10 times thing per season. I mean, were you on the floor like Ty? I mean, was your heart in pieces?
No, not really, because I've become accustomed to it now, mate. I look at it like this, right? We had 2 opportunities to clear the ball. What are you taught from a young age when you're playing football? If in doubt, kick it out. Yeah? 2 opportunities to get rid of that ball. We didn't do it. They got a shot off. Leno made a good save. And then you reset from the corner. And it didn't look like anyone was set from that corner. Rob Holding wasn't picking up his man. Cedric was nowhere in the box. And, as regards to Leno, while I understand that he should be doing better, 100% he should be doing better. That is point blank range, So him keeping that out would probably have been very difficult anyway. But like you say, what's happened with Leno's hands? He used to be a good shot stopper. All of a sudden, we got flappy hand ski back in the goal again. It's like, what's going on? But at the same time, I don't know, mate. Like I say, I've become accustomed to this now. I mean, I look at the stats because everybody likes stats, don't they? That's now 14 games in a row where we have not kept a clean sheet in all competitions. So to say, did I expect it to happen? Did I not expect it to happen? Of course I expected it to happen. We can't keep clean sheets to save our life.
I agree. And I mean, I totally resonate with that. But I think even though you expect it, when it actually happens, it's like your body just is numb, because even though you expected it, you still can't believe it, because it's just crazy that Arsenal is able to just screw up and just so many games over so many years, and they still manage to do the same thing. And I hear you in terms of 14 games without a clean sheet. I do want to point out that before that, we were doing well. I mean, at a certain point, we weren't conceding goals. And in January, we were doing much better, but it's the same old. So, I mean, we can keep going on this game for quite a while. We have a few more topics. I think I want to close off on this game with one more thing, is really ask you guys, is the Arsenal fan base overreacting on Partey? And I'll give my thoughts firstly. I think Partey had probably the worst game yesterday. That wasn't the Partey that I have seen. I've never seen the guy play so badly. And I really do believe that the culture of the club and the mediocrity of some of our players is rubbing off on this guy, because there's no other reason that I can think of why this guy suddenly, seems like a 15, 20 million pound player. I mean, he was worse than Xhaka yesterday, and I thought that would be impossible for me to say. So let's start with the Disky assembly. What do you think about?
That's what happens when you play next to Xhaka. You become him. That you're like, he's like, Partey's someone. Xhaka's been like, oh yeah, Partey's making me a better player. What, bro? But you've dragged Partey down. Like, I will say, this guy, I've not seen him put a shot and it's actually hit the target. That guy, he plays like PSL, literally Disky in South Africa. When he shoots, that ball goes flying. Even yesterday, I think he tried to hit it in the corner, and that just like, it wasn't even anywhere near the target. And I'm not even sure if like, dude, like, I'm not even sure if it's the other, yeah, you're right. It's like the mediocrity around him that's like not getting him to a level that he should be performing at. When he was at Atletico, it's basically like surrounded by pretty good players. So you have to raise to that level. If you come into our team and you're the main man, and now you see everyone else is like just Bambi and looking like don't even know how to play in the midfield, like you're gonna be what you are around you. So I don't even know. I feel bad for him because I mean, we all know he was a good player at Atletico. You see him; he plays well. Some of the runs that he would make, and maybe in the beginning of the season he did well, but now it's just like it is the mediocrity is rubbing off on him, and he's just not. There's no one there that inspire, because that's what it takes. A team takes a bunch of players, not one player. It's all players in different positions that are all excelling and inspiring each other to play better, learning from each other. Who the hell is what is Partey learning from who? El Neni could teach him something, bro. It's like they all
El Neni maybe
could
teach him how to shoot, because El Neni's been scoring some bangers. But yeah, I mean, I hear you. I mean, it's crazy, and it's. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring this up, because I mean, for me, I think it's a little bit of an overreaction, and there's no way that this player just drops from a. You know, I still consider him a world-class midfielder, and I still think we're yet to see even 90% of what this guy can provide to the team. So Brandon, I'll come to you. I mean, are we overreacting?
100%. 100% overreacting. I still think he's a top-class player. I still think he will come good for Arsenal. I think he needs certain surroundings around him, like Disky was just saying there. You play next to Granit Xhaka, you know, playing next to bang average players, eventually you're going to become a bang average player. You look at, for example, let's take Gabriel, the centre-back. He looked very good when he came in. And now, all of a sudden, he looks ropey. And it's almost like the crap around him is rubbing off. And it's a very similar thing with Thomas Partey. Do you know what I mean? And with Thomas Partey at Atletico Madrid, he had one main instruction from Diego Simeone, and that was break up play, drive with the ball forward, and give the ball to somebody else better than you who can finish it. He is almost trying to do too much in our midfield. He breaks up the play, and then he's powering forward with the ball, but nobody's giving him an option. So before you know it, he's at the edge of the box and he's taking little shots. You know, he's trying to do too much, I think, and that's where he's going on.
Fair. Enrico, we'll close it with you. I mean, yeah. What are your thoughts on Partey?
I think it doesn't help with Partey that he's been injured a few times this season. So once you get injured, it's like you try to get into a rhythm, then he gets injured. He tries to get into another rhythm, then he gets injured. So I think that doesn't help. I think with Partey, I think there's a really good player there. We all seen him what he was like at Atletico Madrid. And I think when he was at Atletico Madrid, he played in the midfield three with Koke and Saul. The drop-off from those two players is massive. People on like social media say how good Granit Xhaka is, but Koke and Saul are fundamental to that team. So for me, I think once Partey has a proper midfielder next to him, like a Bissouma, you will see his levels go up. Because if you've got someone like Bissouma who can hold that position, right? Partey then can bomb forward. You can have Bissouma as like the deep line player, or you can do roles reverse. You can have Partey as a deep line, because they're both very like, they play different positions. So for me, if we bring in the player who's at a level with Partey, you will see Partey's levels go up. Right now, he's the best of a bad bunch. Let's be real.
Yep.
Ceballos isn't good enough. El Neni is a squad player, and Granit Xhaka divides opinions. Some people rate him, some people don't like him, and that just shows when you've got a player like that, he's just not good enough. So for me, the central midfield position is fundamental for Partey to flourish as a player. And I think if we bring in,
No, go ahead, finish off.
And I think if we bring in those players next season, you will see the Partey that we saw at Atletico Madrid. But right now we're seeing, I know, man, fingers crossed, but just right now we're seeing, Partey's doing everything in that midfield. He's trying to break play up, he's trying to make that killer pass. And he can't all do that. He's not a robot. He's not like, you will have mistakes in him. And I think people are picking his flaws because he's doing everything in the midfield, because we all know that Xhaka is just not good enough. So for me, we have to bring in a player in that midfield position that will not only improve Partey, but will be on the same level as him. So yeah, that's my thoughts right there.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that we're all on the same page in terms of Partey and how fundamental and how people are overreacting from a bad performance last night, which is fair. I mean, criticism is always fair, but I think looking at the holistic picture, this guy is going to be in our team moving forward. And I really think that next season, if we do get a Bissouma, and I also think Smith Rowe didn't really help him. I think our midfield was very weak yesterday. And I don't want to pick on Smith Rowe, but I mean, he didn't really do himself well, and that's because he's been playing on the left wing, the last few games, and Odegaard's been playing in the 10, and he's switching positions. He was taking up a lot of the space in the wings that clogged us up. But I mean, I'm done kind of venting on that game last night. I think we've gotten our thoughts out on it. Quickly before we close on that, yes or no? Are you confident that we're going to get through to the semifinals? Yes or no? That's it. Enrico, go first.
My heart.
Yes or no? No.
Okay, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. No.
No? Wow. Okay, bold, Enrico. Disky, what are your thoughts? Yes or no? Are we making it through next week?
I have to say yes. I'm gonna pray today. It's Friday. I'm gonna pray for us.
Awesome. And Brandon?
Am I confident? No, because you never know what Arsenal's going to turn up. I think we'll go through. Yes, but it depends on if we turn up.
And that's the story of Arsenal, right? It's the hope that kills you. So cool. I think we're gonna close off on that game yesterday. Let's try and forget it. We have a couple of days to digest in the Sheffield United game. I wanted to address the people in the comments, the people that are watching. Thanks for being here again. Like and subscribe and share the content. Please drop your questions below if you have any. And yeah, I want to move into the Fabrizio Romano exclusive interview on the Arsenal Lounge, and we were really privileged today to have the guru, the transfer guru himself, come in and spill some exclusive news, which was that if Arsenal get knocked out next week in the Europa League, Arteta will still be at Arsenal. And exclusive here on the Arsenal Lounge. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It was wonderful. And if you have any questions from there, drop your questions underneath that video or drop your questions underneath here. And just your reactions. So, I mean, who wants to start first? Brandon, go for it.
If that is the case, then it just shows the standards of this football club. These owners are in the gutter. They're in the gutter, because how can you turn around and say, right, Emery, I know he lost the dressing room, but how can you turn around and say, right, Emery, you're sacked. It's not been good enough. The fans are not happy, this, that, and the other. And then appoint Arteta, give him his first full season, and we're going backwards, essentially, because we finish 10th and we get knocked out on Thursday. How can you keep this guy? It's not like he's getting the best out of the players that he's got. He's not. Aubameyang's the worst that I've ever seen Aubameyang. Pepe, you're not getting a tune out of him, who cost £72 million. The only players that are sort of stepping up is the two youngsters. But again, they're raw. So, you kind of get that from them. But even then, I'm seeing Saka last night, and he looks like he's been overplayed, And I look at the squad, and I look at the players that we do have. Yes, we've got a lot of Ed Wood in this squad, but we do also have some top players. And Mikel Arteta is not getting anything out of the top players that we do have. And to finish 10th and be knocked out of the Europa League, no European football at all, and to still keep this manager here when there is potentially better options out there, I think that just shows exactly where the standards of the football club are.
Yeah, 100%. And Enrico, I know you watched Fabrizio's interview. I mean, what are your thoughts on him basically spilling the beans that if we don't make it through next week, nothing is going to change? And Arteta is pretty much untouchable right now, it seems.
I don't know with Arteta. When he first came in, he wasn't my first choice. I'll be straight up with you right now. He was never my first choice manager. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, right? I just don't see any improvements. People keep going about the FA Cup, but that for me papered over the cracks. That papered over a lot of mistakes that were done last season. And then this season, I don't see that much of improvement. So what does this board want? What is their ambition? Do they want to be a mid-table club, or do they want to aspire to be a top 4, then hopefully a Premier League champion? Because at this rate, we're going downhill. And I watched Turkish's AFTV interview last night saying about that we've got ambitions to be Man City, but we're going towards Newcastle. At this rate, that's where we're going to go. And with Arteta, he's just learning on the job. And I feel with a better manager, we would be higher up in the table, and he'd be getting better out of these players. I don't know, man. I think with Arteta, the fact that he was an ex-captain should be no bearer of how he's as a manager. That's when he was a player. He's now the manager of this team, one of the biggest clubs in the world, right? And he's not producing. That should be a sackable offense, right? And people keep making excuses and make excuses. It's not good enough, man. It's just not good enough. And if we do not sack him if we do get knocked out by Slavia Prague and finish in 10th, then serious questions need to be aimed at this board. Not just the manager, but the board. Because they're the ones who are keeping him in the job. So for me, as I said, man, lots of questions need to be answered, man. That's my opinion.
I think you bring up a good point, and I think we all on here agree that Kroenke is definitely the root cause of all this issues. And I mean, it's really going to raise more questions on, what is he doing? Where's the direction of this club? Where's the ruthlessness? I mean, you set targets for the manager this season to achieve Champions League football. He didn't hit his targets. Why is he still here? And we'll come to the Disky. I mean, what do you think about Arteta being untouchable and really he can lose the rest of the games this season? And okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration because I think if he loses every single game for the rest of the season, there's huge question marks. But I mean, there's no way we're winning all the games in the next few weeks, right? So what are your thoughts on Arteta staying next season if we don't hit our targets?
I think it has a lot to do with ego, the board's ego. They've gone through how many managers after Wenger? They went through all these transitions with Ljungberg, Unai thingy. For them to then go ahead and sack Arteta, with them, it'd be looking, being like, I don't know what they do. Also, I was thinking, I watched the Fabrizio Romano thing with Allegri, right? When he mentioned Allegri wants Champions League football. He doesn't want a project. He wants to get to the Champions League final and win it. He wants a team that is already there and built upon something. And then it made me think, okay, so you see people like, Pep would say that, Arsenal would be ridiculous. It would be really bad for us to get rid of Arteta and to keep him there. And you hear the good stuff that they've, like, I know Odegaard even takes really kindly to Arteta and everything, but I don't know where it's translating. I don't know what is missing. Is it the fact that he's not just like, is he still an assistant in his own time? And that is true. Every manager needs time. That is 100% true. Do we as Arsenal fans have that time and do that? I don't want to be this charity case until something happens and it's a project. Yeah, bro, we are not that team. That is a West Ham. That is an Everton. That is a thing. Look, Everton, maybe that was the point. Look, when Carlo Ancelotti went to Everton, I thought, damn, that might have been the guy to have got. Because look how well he already just made. He made Calvert-Lewin look like Lewandowski for the start of the season. Imagine what he could have done with our players. And that's the thing. I think there are incredible players that have come to Arsenal at that time, where Odegaards and the parties and everything. And maybe they're coming to a manager who's still learning at that stage. And that saddens me to think that, okay, if we don't get into the Europa, if we don't win the Europa and don't get into UEFA, Arteta is still there. I'm just thinking, okay, then what is the plan? What is the plan? Who will we bring in? What is going to change? Like what needs to happen for us to actually be a big club again? Because at this moment, it's nowhere near. We are a mid-table team. We are exactly where we deserve to be. 10th.
Agreed. Brandon, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that as well. Like it seems like the board's expectations change depending on what happens throughout the season. It weren't that long
Yeah.
ago we was hearing, be excited. We're going to be back at the top soon. Now, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter what happens with Arteta. He can finish 15th if he likes. He'll still be here next season. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And the only thing that it outlines is that these people that are in charge of this football club really do not care. And a bit like Disky just said there, I also think that it's down to the board's ego as well. Because then if they sack Arteta, they've then got to admit that they got it wrong yet again. They chose Emery. It didn't work out. I think with Emery, with a little bit more time and maybe being able to learn the language a bit more, he probably would have gone on and been a better manager, I think. But with Arteta, they could have gone down the experience route. They could have gone got an Ancelotti. They went with the novice, the model that Manchester United have built on with Solskjaer. And it's not working out. And they don't want to admit defeat. That's the only way I can see it, mate.
I mean, the telling tale for me was when Fabrizio said, and I asked him, what does the market feel about Arsenal? What are other clubs saying? What are players thinking about Arsenal? Because there's no way that top players are considering Arsenal right now. I mean, as fans, if we're being real, come on, we're not going to get a Haaland, an Mbappe, a Neymar. I mean, any elite player, we're not going to attract them. And you mentioned that the club is happy with Arteta. The feeling is very good with Arteta, and for me, I couldn't accept that. But that seems to be what he's being fed, right? And I want to move on to the point where I asked him about how much does Arsenal have to spend, because every summer we hear it. We have £100 million to spend this transfer, and whatever we sell, that's extra money we have. And obviously he doesn't know how much we're going to have because the club won't let him know. But I mean, there needs to be an indication of which players we want to buy and how much those players are going to cost, right? There's the transfer list and how much those players are going to cost. So in your opinion, and I'll start with the Disky, do you think that if we don't make Europa League or Europe next season, that the owners will back the club and give us the extra 100 million, like the Partey signing where they stumped up that 50 million. This time 50 million is not going to help us. We're going to need over 50 million. So what is that transfer budget for you? That's the first question. And the second question is, do you trust Arteta to take that money and spend it wisely?
So firstly, if you're asking what I think the transfer budget is going to be.
Well, what do you think? Do you think we need to actually compete next season and basically restructure and compete for top four? Because that's going to be the aim again next season. There's no way we're going to aim to win the Premier League next season. That's not happening.
I would say with our board, at least with Kroenke, yeah, this guy cares about the Rams. The Rams in America, their football team here. He pumps most of his time and energy and money and vision into them. I feel like Arsenal has been something that has just created him money over time. That's like a consistent flow of income, with Arsene Wenger coming forth every year and doing that thing. It's a consistent base, right? Now it's like, okay, I don't see this guy cares or even has any vision for Arsenal. The only reason, remember when his son came out and spoke and says, oh yeah, I will be excited, all this stuff, like, you got to be, we're ready, Arsenal fans, like, I really like, bro, he does not know anything about football. If we really need a change, get Aliko Dangote, someone who cares about the club, someone who sees a passion and vision for the club. But that's the thing. I don't know, it's a board. At the end of the day, we can blame the manager. All the fans are going to do is blame people who within their power to blame. When they
100%.
But I will say, remember when I think it was Turkish who even did, like, he set up a protest in London, and like there was that period where Arsenal fans were really, really mad about not getting transfers, not getting a budget. We're saying, where is all this money? We're doing all these things. Where are these players? And we genuinely put pressure on the board. And then they started coming out. And then you had they're doing all these random interviews with people and all that stuff. And it's like, maybe that's what we need to do. Put that pressure again. Put that pressure on the owners. Put that pressure on the board, not just on the manager, And okay, let's say we get the budget. Do I think that Arteta has the ability to bring players in? Low key, I think what makes Arteta so great is he is very personable. I think when he talks to players, he can actually attract them to come and play for him. Because, for some reason, you know, he was a player before, of course, and he's still young. I think they always have that. It's the same thing with Solskjaer, Lampard. They had that thing where they can connect with those players. So I do believe that maybe there is a possibility. But if we don't have Champions League, what player? Our ain't coming. He wants Champions League. Buendia, okay, cool. But that's also another, like, you don't know. We don't know. I'd rather have Odegaard. Real Madrid might want him back. If we have Champions League, that adds to it. I think it really all depends. All of this depends on what happens next week and then thereafter. If we win Champions League, you can ask me that question again. I mean, if we win Europa, ask me that question again.
Yeah, I was going to correct you quickly there. Champions League. I mean, watch
that
game, you know, Bayern, Man City, Dortmund, and you look at those teams, and I realized watching that like if we ever got back in the Champions League, either next season or the season after, we would be embarrassed. We would be embarrassed like we were 5-0 against Bayern, getting slapped by Messi and Barcelona 2 years in a row, and it'd be the same old story. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to be embarrassed like that? You know, I don't think so. So, I mean, quickly, Brandon, I'm gonna go to you. I mean, do you trust Arteta with a 150, 200 million budget? And do you think he will get that budget from the Kroenkes? Because if we don't make Europe, we know that's about a 40, 50 million pound loss in terms of our transfer budget. And I mean, if we're taking 100 mil, we'll have a 50 million budget, and we barely have any players that have actually good market value. I mean, Lacazette, what is he? 20 million if we get rid of him. David Luiz for free. Cedric, I mean, free. Xhaka, 20 million at most. I mean, we're not going to get that much cash injection from our sales. So what are your thoughts?
I hate to admit it, but I personally feel like this summer is going to be a bit like the January transfer window. It's going to be more about getting rid of players than what it is bringing in players. In terms of would he get the budget from the owners, the answer to that definitively is no. You know, apart from that one season where we brought Nicolas Pepe for £72 million, when have we ever spent any more than, you know, £100 million? And you got to remember as well, they like to make the excuse that we've just been in a pandemic. You know, they've got that excuse there now, ready to go. We already know what's coming, mate. Yeah. So I look at it like this and I think, okay, he's not going to get much of a budget. I think us as Arsenal fans have got to kind of accept that this is going to be a bit of a rebuilding job. I personally feel we need between 6 and 8 brand new first team players for us to even compete for top 4, let alone a league title. And we know we're not getting that in one summer transfer window. So we've got to kind of accept that it's a rebuilding job, but at the same time, not drop our standards too much to the point where we're 10th in the league and we're possibly going out of the Europa League against Slavia Prague. It's more about the budget that Arteta or whoever it is gets. It's how they spend it. Are they going to get £50 million and go and waste it on a player who turns out to be another, say, Nicolas Pepe, who's kind of hit and miss, you know, doesn't really suit the Premier League, not the player that we thought we was getting? Or will they go and spend that money wisely? If they don't spend the money wisely, then it could set us back even further. And that is the key to it. If he gets £25 million, who are you buying in for that £25 million? And whoever it is, they've got to come in and hit the ground running. You know, £100 million, they could have £200 million. It doesn't really matter as long as they're getting the correct players in. If they're not buying the correct players with that money, we're wasting our time again.
Yeah, no, 100%, Brandon. And I want to emphasize on your point that we cannot mess up. We've messed up so many times. We don't have the money to mess up again. I mean, this summer transfer window is so pivotal to our future. Next week is so pivotal to our future. And as we all said, it didn't look like yesterday was a final. That definitely didn't look like a final. And I want to mention, you know, we were in the Europa League final against Chelsea, and we didn't even play like we were in a final. So how are we expecting the players to play in a quarterfinal like it's a final, right? It's just a joke. I want to open it up to the fans, and the link is in the comments section, and we're going to open it up in the next 10 minutes. And I want to close off with the Fabrizio interview and the reaction with Enrico. I want to ask you, firstly, I mean, Fabrizio was very confident that Arsenal is in a good place. We're still attractive. We're still going to do the business. He mentioned that Arsenal has already been in talks with Arteta. They've already identified the summer transfer targets they want, and they're already working on getting those done. What is your feeling in terms of the players that we're going to get in? We mentioned Hakimi, a 50 to 60 million pound player. I mean, if we don't make, Champions League, Europa League next season, do we even, is it realistic to think we're going to get a 50 million pound, rising right wing back like Hakimi when there's going to be Chelsea, Man City, all these teams, PSG, Dortmund, the list goes on and on. They're all going to be looking for a sweet deal. And this is one of the best right backs, upcoming in the world. So what are your thoughts? Are you as confident as Fabrizio?
I don't know, man. With Arsenal, it can go either way. We can end up with Hakimi, or we can end up with another Granit Xhaka type signing. For me, this summer is how we spend our money. Because too much in the past, we've spent money on absolute dross. Absolute dross. The list could go on. Granit Xhaka, Mustafi, Lucas Perez, those type of players. So what I want from this board this summer is to identify the plan A. So if you can't get Hakimi, have a backup. Don't just put all your eggs in one basket and go for Hakimi. Yes, he's the number one target, but if you can't get Hakimi, have a plan B. So for me, I'm going to reserve judgment until what I see this summer. I've got my doubts because of what's happened in the past. Obviously, they'll have their targets. They'll have their targets that they want in each position. I agree with Brandon. I think we do need 6 to 8 players. But for me, the key positions for me are right back, central midfielder, and a backup left back. And possibly a striker.
What about a striker? I know we've obviously signed Balogun to a new deal, and Fabrizio did tell us that in the next 3-4 days that's going to be official. So you heard it here first. We shouldn't be worrying too much about that. It seems like a done deal. But I still think we need a striker.
It depends. For me, Eddie Nketiah needs to leave. I think he's been given plenty of chances. And the thing is, he was brought back early from his loan spell from Leeds. And I think he's an honest guy. He seems like a nice guy. But to be the leading number 9 at Arsenal, he's just not good enough. He's a championship. I personally think he's championship level. Maybe one day he'll become Premier League level, but right now he's not good enough. Lacazette, for me, do we extend his deal, or do we let him run to the last year of his contract? For me, we have to sell him. I know there was talks in the summer that maybe he could go to Monaco or maybe a team in Italy. Hopefully, we can get some money off of him. And Aubameyang, who's going to buy Aubameyang with the money he's got? We're stuck with him. He's on 350, 375 a week. There's no way one team that would go for Aubameyang. So for me, I do think we need a striker, if not a wide player, but it all depends what kind of striker they're looking for. But for me, I think the Balogun news is good because there's a player there with potential, and I personally think, I don't know, do you guys think he'll go on loan, or do you think he will be first team next season? Not first team, but like a rotational player up top. What do you guys think?
Brandon, I see you're here. I want to close this topic, so these are the last points on this.
Yeah, in terms of do we need a striker, I don't think we do. I think you can sell Lacazette, you can sell Nketiah, and then you've still got Balogun, who, like you say, he's going to be signed to a new deal. You can give him a few opportunities. Obviously, don't chuck him in and play him for 30 games in the season or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I would be looking at transforming Martinelli into a number 9, a striker. He has played there before for us, and every time he's played there, he's looked decent. He's scored a few goals as well. You got Aubameyang there as well. He'll be the lead. He'll be the main man up front or on the left hand side. You can sort of interchange between the two as well. So I don't think we need a striker as such. I do think definitely midfielder. You got to be looking at centre back, backup left back, right back. Then positions definitely, yeah.
Cool. So I want to close up on this. Thank you guys for sharing your thoughts on Fabrizio's, exclusive interview here at the Arsenal Lounge. As I said, if you haven't checked it out, those of you who are watching this on playback or watching this live, go and check that out. There were some really interesting insights and questions that we haven't touched on today because of the amount of time we have. So go check that out. And yeah, I mean, I've dropped a link for fans to come on. I see that we have Gunnar Express sitting backstage, and we're going to give it a couple of minutes. I want to just quickly touch on Sheffield United very quickly. I don't want to spend much time on it, like 2-3 minutes, because there isn't any real point of talking about it. It's a useless game. It's regardless if we win or not. I mean, the only positive I see it builds confidence for the game on Thursday, the second leg. But apart from that, I mean, are you confident? Yes or no? What is your match prediction? Very straightforward. Enrico, go for it.
Yeah. I'm confident we'll win, and personally, I'd play Martinelli. Just give him a chance. Like, we've got nothing left playing for the Premier League. Give Martinelli a chance. Through the middle or on the right. Just give this kid a chance. That's all I'm asking for. Prediction, I'm going to go with 3-0.
Cool. The Disky, thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I want to see Martinelli start. I want to see all the youngsters start and gel together. Yeah, we have nothing to lose, so why not just let them show something? And I'm gonna go with 3-1 because I know we're gonna concede.
Yeah. You guys are both very confident. I mean, we struggled to finish our dinner just like less than 24 hours ago, and you guys are thinking we're gonna score 3 goals. I mean, I love the confidence, but I'm just saying, you know, this is the hope. Hope kills us, man. The hope kills us. Just be careful. So yeah, Brandon, thoughts? I'm sure you're also going to predict a win. I mean, I am as well. It's Sheffield United, right? I mean, we have to win this game.
Do you know what? I'm going to agree with Enrico and Disky as well. I think we're going to bang a couple of goals in this game. But the only problem is if we go and put in performance in this game, you can guarantee that we won't turn up again next Thursday. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Do you want to turn up against Sheffield United and then not turn up against Slavia, or vice versa? You just never know with Arsenal. I'm pretty confident we'll win the game because, let's be real, Sheffield United have been awful. But again, it's Arsenal. You just never know, do you? But yeah, I'd like to see Arteta reap the changes, definitely.
Okay, we have 3 wins here. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling that confident, and there's always this psychology, you know, when I say that we wait till the end of the transfer window, and then, you know, when we were talking about Thomas Partey, right, I was like, we're gonna get him, and I feel like we're gonna draw this game and then win 3-4-0 on Thursday. That's my feeling. I feel like we're gonna play crap. We're gonna not, you know, exhaust a lot of energy, and then on Thursday we're gonna throw a surprise to the whole world and say, bam, you know, this is the Arsenal that we've been talking about. And I mean, that's coming straight from my heart, right? That's what I want to see. I don't care if we lose tomorrow. I mean, on Sunday, I really don't. I mean, it's not going to make much of a difference to us. I don't think our confidence can get any lower. We're already at rock bottom for me, to be honest. And I'm just expecting a reaction. And I think if we don't perform on Sunday, we have a higher chance for a reaction on Thursday, you know. And that logic might not be sound, but that's how Arsenal is. There is no logic to Arsenal. So cool. I think we've touched upon all those things, and I want to move into the fan cams. As you guys know, on Fridays we get guests on from around the world to come have their say. And I know Gunnar Express has been waiting patiently, and I really appreciate it. So Gunnar Express, welcome to the Arsenal Lounge. Thank you for your patience. And yeah, what are your thoughts? What do you want to discuss about?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. In terms of the game, I think it shows that Mikel Arteta is not ready for a big job like this, because this, for me, is one of the most difficult jobs currently in world football. Probably this and the Barcelona job. It's so difficult because we have a fan base that expects the highest level of football and obviously the highest level of trophies, and we're not delivering right now in both areas. For me, if we were playing better football, but we still weren't getting the results, it wouldn't be on Arteta, because we're playing good football. But we're not playing good football. It's boring, it's lackluster, it's just lethargic, it's poor. And the players, for me, every single week are either A, getting worse, or B, getting more down. Like, they're not showing any energy or showing any fight to want to win. And I mean, I think, obviously, from what Fabrizio said earlier in the channel, you know, the fact that he has this job security, it's not good, because he's now going to get overconfident. He now knows he's not going to get sacked, and there's no pressure on him to deliver because he's not going to get sacked anyway. So why does he have to go win the Europa League now? What reason does he have to go win the Europa League? Because he's not going to get sacked. So the fact that this is true, I think he needs a bit of humility. He needs a humiliation from the board. They need to openly, you know, humiliate him and it might just make him click a bit more in terms of with the substitutions, especially. Please justify, any of you, please try and justify how you can bring on substitutes in the 70th minute when the game was not going our way. It was going into it was playing in Prague's hands, because that's exactly what they wanted. And the fact that he doesn't see that we're not playing well enough and doesn't make a substitute until 20 minutes left in the game, I don't get it. I'm really baffled. But yeah, not good enough. That's the main story of that game. It's just not good enough.
No, very fair analysis. And I mean, in regards to your question, the irony Gunnar expressed is that in the beginning of his tenure, he was making substitutions like we've never seen before. And we were all praising him, saying, oh my God, we haven't seen substitutions at Arsenal like this in a decade. And now he's turned into Arsene Wenger and can't make a substitution. And you're right, I was pulling my hair, not only last night, but against Liverpool. And I wasn't expecting anything from that Liverpool game. But as soon as you go 1-0, you bring on all your attacking options, because there's no other choice. We were going to lose that game. It was a nothing game for us. Throw everything at it and see if we can rescue a draw or a win. But what did we do? We waited till the 80th minute. You bring on Martinelli, who doesn't even get a touch of the ball or anything. And that was the same thing last night, right? We waited way too long. We had no creativity. We had no pace. They were playing a high line. And yeah, very poor from Arteta. I see Brandon has something to say.
Yeah, he is basically Arsene Wenger, isn't he? He's very stubborn, very stuck in his ways, very, very like it's my way or the highway, basically. And he even said it in his interview after the game yesterday. He thought he made the substitutions at the right time. I'm like, are you mad, man? Like, seriously. But yeah, the only difference is that Arsene Wenger had a bit of credit bank. He won a few Premier League titles. He won an FA Cup every now and again. He consistently got us in the top four. This manager, he's won an FA Cup. Everybody thinks he's a god all of a sudden. And yeah, it's basically like what you were saying, African Gunnar, mate. He is Arsene Wenger in disguise. Who knows?
I mean, he did learn from him, right? So, there's a lot of similarities. And I want to point out as well to all of you, I mean, I've been saying it for a long time, but I think he defends the board. I mean, in his press conferences, I think after that honeymoon period, I realized that he's been lying to us. Remember when Arsene Wenger used to tell us that we're selling Chamberlain? He plays him against Liverpool, and then literally 3 days later, he sells him to them. I mean, you just cannot write this stuff. And the same thing with Fabregas and Van Persie and Sanchez. I mean, the amount of lies that Wenger told us, Arteta gives me that vibes as well, and I really don't appreciate. And as you said, Brandon, when he came out and said that those substitutions were made at the right time, I was thinking to myself, listen here, boy, you're an employee. We are lifelong fans. You can't fool us. We watch every single game, every single minute of Arsenal for however long that we've been alive or been able to support Arsenal, right? So it was just absolute mockery with him saying that. Gunnar Express, is there anything else that you wouldn't ask? One more question to the panel. Anything else you'd like to say?
Yeah, just quickly on that about the lies in the press conferences. Anybody saying that he doesn't get the right back in, I agree. No manager at Arsenal has got the right back in for years. But the point is this. Arteta said that he was being backed fully by the board. Let's not forget that. He did a press conference saying that he was being backed fully. He wasn't, but he deemed that he was being backed fully. So what I don't understand is how people make excuses for him that he's not even making for himself. Like with Martinelli not being played, when a lot of fans told me it was because of injury or because of fitness, Arteta came out and said that wasn't the reason. It's because he chose not to play him. So fans are making excuses for this manager when there's no point, because he doesn't have an excuse himself. And he is a liar, because again, he says that he wants to play Martinelli in the number 9 role in the future, but proceeds to bring him on the left wing and never play him up front. So I don't understand that. Like, why are you lying? Just tell us the truth, because we're not going to ridicule you for telling us the truth. That's what we want. We want the truth.
100%.
We never get it.
I totally agree with that. I think my perspective on that is that I think it's risky to play Martinelli in that 9 right now, because if we get it wrong, and Enrico talked about going to a 3 at the back, and I wanted to say this to you as well, Enrico, if he makes those changes and it goes wrong, it's going to be mad, right? So I think it's way too risky to make those changes, and he's kind of going safe. We know Martinelli can play on the left wing. I totally hear you. I mean, don't lie about it. And if you say you rate him and stuff, bring him on in the 50th, 60th minute so he can actually do something. The last 3-4 times he's come on, he's barely been been able to touch the ball, and he's actually almost scored or impacted the goal without even being in the play, right? That's just how dangerous he is. So I totally hear you on that. And I mean, moving forward, I really hope that that's not the case. But Gunnar Express has been absolutely amazing to have you. You've been a phenomenal guest. We hope to see you in the future. And enjoy the Sheffield United game.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, man.
Thanks.
Cheers. Cool. We have Victor in the background. Victor has been a guest on the show before. Victor, how are you? Before you go, I want to say that I give Pepe his props, okay? And we spoke about this before. I said I was going to give Pepe a couple of games, and I want to point out that yesterday was exactly what you pay 72 million for. You bring on the player, and he scores, the most important goals. It's really unfortunate that the team and his teammates let him down. But I know your agenda with Pepe and your love for Pepe, so I had to clear the air before we start. So Victor, how are you? How are you feeling? What do you want to talk about, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Just really sad about yesterday. It's just something that's been happening over and over and over and over again. Things don't have to be playing well to beat us. It's just getting too much. I mean, as much as we want to blame the players, we have to look at the coach also. What is wrong with Arteta? What is wrong with Arsenal Football Club? We are the only football team in the world that will sign Thomas Partey and get worse. We are the only football club in the world that will sign Aubameyang and think that he is now a left winger, not a striker. What is wrong with the football club? These are fundamental questions we have to ask. Why do we have to wait till the 77th minute to make substitution? And Arteta came to the press conference and said we were dominating the game. Were we dominating yesterday? We're being dominated by Slavia Prague, who does not have their starting centre-backs. They were horrible at defending yesterday, and we could still not penetrate them. So these are the fundamental questions we should ask. What is wrong with the manager? How we have the most expensive front three in the league, and we can't find a way to use them or get the best out of them? These are the questions we should ask Mikel Arteta. What is happening? Every single player has gotten worse under this manager. Every single one of them.
Except
Look
for
at Saka yesterday. Look at Saka yesterday. Look at the chances he missed.
Well, that's one game. That's one game in the whole season, man. Come on, I won't let you.
I love Saka, but before
Three
he was
games.
injured,
Three
before
games.
he was injured, he's caused the Arsenal flu. Smith Rowe was missing yesterday also. They were trying their best, but it seems the players don't train together. They are so
I hear you.
disjointed on
I
the
hear you.
pitch.
Enrico, Brandon, Didisky. What are your thoughts? Victor is clearly not happy. I mean, he's been Arteta out before any of this. He's always questioned the manager, and his point is just being proven by the way we're playing. We have no style. And what are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I think the biggest lie is these Arsenal training videos that they put out before the games. That's the biggest lie that Arsenal puts up, fam. Showing Partey scoring free kicks and all these things. That's we don't know what it is. It's almost like they're creating their own narrative that it's trust the process, Arteta project, all this and that. But then it's it's leaving it to the point that he is untouchable. What can we say to him? I don't know.
Brandon, Enrico,
I just want to
thoughts?
question, please.
Go for it, Victor. Ask a question.
What is the process? What is our style of play? Like, what is Arsenal's style of play? What is our identity?
Brandon, that one's for you.
Your guess is as good as mine, mate. To be honest with you, I don't know what this process is. I don't know what our style of play is. I said it earlier. I thought our style of play was high press, high intensity. Didn't see any of that yesterday. Players looked disinterested. Playing it out from the back was poor. It's just like this whole process. They're buzzwords. That's what it is. They're all buzzwords. They all do. It makes Mikel Arteta sound professional. It makes him sound good. And, it's all just... We've been lied to by this board time and time again. And it's about time that the fans stepped in and started to do something about it.
Cool. I want to go to Enrico.
Yeah. I think with Arteta, he's been PR'd since day one. They put him on such a high pedestal of this amazing manager with these innovative ideas. But he's not done anything on the pitch. People keep going about the FA Cup. Yeah, that's one. But that was last season. What have I seen this season to show that he has improved this team? Nothing. People keep going about that he's improved defense. We've conceded 3 less goals than Brighton. And people say that we've improved the defense. Come on, man. It's just, for me, there's so much. People just need to jump off their high horse about this manager. He's not good enough, and he will never improve. Mark
I
that.
guess, Yeah. I guess, Victor, what I would say in terms of the process, I think this process has changed, by the way. It's evolved based on the injuries we've had in this team. I think when we were playing, really well in the FA Cup, the process was, and the style of play was, be defensive, have a good shape, have a lot of men covering, double team, work hard, and then counter. And that seemed to work. And then I think people found us out. And then we had injuries. And then we had our Aubameyang this season who wasn't performing. And he was the one carrying the team last season. And I think that style of play basically changed. And that's why we're seeing this boring, puzzle, basically. Like, there's no flow to this team. There's no cohesion. There's nothing, because we do not have squad depth. We do not have a style of play, because that style of play of counter-attacking doesn't work anymore, because we've been found out. So we can't even use that anymore. And now we're just stuck in this limbo where we don't have enough good players, quality players that can take the game by the scruff of the neck. I mean, imagine Sanchez was in this team. Sanchez would just take the ball and make things happen. We don't have anyone in this team. Odegaard, yes, he can do to a certain extent, but I mean, he's not the same level as a Sanchez, Mbappe, Neymar. He's amazing, but we don't have those world-class players anymore to get us out of trouble. And the players that we've been depending on, like Saka, like Martinelli last season, not even getting game time. Lacazette missing that one-on-one. I mean, come on, man. Even Gervinho, Bentner. I mean, the worst of the strikers we've had at Arsenal would finish that, man. It's just disgraceful. Brandon?
Yeah, I would say, if you wanted to have a good guess at what the process is to set a target of Champions League football and finish 10th. And it not really matter, because the board are going to keep him here no matter what. So that's your process for you, mate, in a nutshell. That's the best way to explain it.
Cool. So, Victor, thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully, in my perspective, I think Pepe, and I think a lot of people will agree, I think Pepe needs to start. What I would do is put Saka at left back, play Martinelli on the left, and play Pepe on the right, and play Aubameyang up front. That's what I would do, because Saka clearly is not, finishing, and in the final third, he can do a job on that left wing back role. I think better than Cedric. He's left-footed. He'll be able to cross. He'll be able to assist. I think it adds dynamism to our team that we've completely lost since Tierney is stepped out of this team. And hopefully next week when we speak and you come on again on the fan cam, it'll be smiles that we won 3-0, that it was just a scare, typical roller coaster that Arsenal puts you in. And hopefully we'll have some positives to chat about next week.
Thank you.
Cool. I'm going to bring on the final guest before we close off. And we have our esteemed guest, Sebastian, who's been on a couple of times. Sebastian, how are you?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, it's been a difficult week for Arsenal. Last night and Saturday. And but apart from that, I'm fine.
Cool. I mean, do you have any questions, reactions? You want to ask Mr. Suave anything? Brandon is here to answer any of your questions, your thoughts, and we have the Disky as well from California. What do you want to chat about? You're the last fan cam today, so make it a good one.
Yeah, well, the thing I want to say is that, can we actually win next week? Because of course we can, but will we? Because this is the question now. Because we were all expected to win last night. I predicted 3-0, and it just looked very flat and very uninspiring. But can we actually win next week? And if we don't, what is it for Mikel Arteta?
The floor is open.
Go ahead.
We don't know. Like, I feel as though every time you put your heart into it and you're like, I'm going to cultivate this energy that we will do it. Boom! Hits you back. And then to cultivate, it's hard. Like, I don't know. I would like to say that we have to. I don't know what, like, Mika, if this guy is going to, he has said that, yes, every game is a final. Haven't seen it play like that. Maybe next week it will be. But it's up to the players and himself to really sit there in the dressing room, look each other in the eye and be like, do we actually want this? Do we want to be in Champions League? Maybe they don't even want to be in Champions League because they know they'll get embarrassed. They know.
Yeah, well, that is the fear, but that shouldn't be the point of these players. Is that what should be happening? Is that if we get Champions League, if we do win for Cup and get Champions League, we should be building towards what we can do to actually develop a squad to get back to where we want to be. But if that's not in the player's head, then they're at the wrong club, because I don't really see that. Do they actually really care? Because these last two games has proven that we don't, because Liverpool and Slavia Prague have been two not great sides this season. Not great. And the thing is, we didn't press at them. This is what got me. We didn't press them because their back lines were shaky. You can see their keeper last night couldn't kick, and their back line was suspect, especially when Lacazette got the ball. But we didn't press them enough. And this is the thing that frustrates me. And when we got the lead, I'm like, you've got 5 minutes to just hold on and to just keep it tight, maybe go for another one to get another lead, but just more importantly, don't concede. Then at the very end, we concede, and it is advantage them. And this is what I was saying last night, that to a few people. Do you remember a few seasons ago when we played CSK in Moscow?
Yeah.
In that first leg, we killed it off in the first half. I'm like, that is how you kill off a first leg at home. That is how. Go at them, attack, go for it. And we did that night. But last night was just a different story against two unexperienced, against another similar side. I'm like, Enrico, I'll come to you.
Okay.
Do you think that what do you think the difference was back then? Do you think back then we actually had players that were hungry, or do you think now that we just got players that just don't really care?
I think it's a bit of both, man. I think a lot of these players are too comfortable in their own surroundings. Back then as well, we had Arsene Wenger. Whatever you think of the guy, he's an experienced manager who's been there and done that. Now we've got a novice manager in charge who I just don't think is ready for the job. And back then we had better players as well.
Yeah, Ramsey.
So I think it's a bit of both, man. I think a lot of the blame has to be at the players, but also at the manager for that performance yesterday. But back then, for me, we had a better team a couple of years ago. But we've just gone downhill to recruitment, to a lot of things. So yeah.
Is it that we had a better team? I mean, sorry, Brandon, just quickly. I think it's not having a better team. I think Arsene Wenger was an attacking manager. We were an attacking team. That's what we were a couple of years ago. There was no such thing as defending. That didn't exist. We know it too well. One pass over the top, bang, goal. One chance, one goal. And Sebastian, we don't have those technical players anymore. We don't have the Cazorla, the Ramsey, the Rosicky, even I would say Flamini, man. The Flamini types of that would keep possession. We aren't able even to put 5 to 10 passes together and keep the ball in our own half and their half. I mean, we just don't have those players anymore. And I don't know if that's confidence, technical skill, the tactics. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a combination of all four, to be honest.
Yeah, you're probably right there. We don't, because back then we had proper midfielders that would attack and would go for it, because we all know the biggest problem is the midfield. It's the midfield, and plus some of the back, and a little bit now in attack. It looks like we've got problems now everywhere, and back then we didn't. And I think that is the difference. It's the lack of quality we've got everywhere. You see, when Tierney's not there, we've got problems. When Saka and Smith Rowe don't start together, there's problems. Do you think that is also a problem, African Guna, that we're relying on youngsters to get us out of jail?
I'm going to quickly answer that, and then I'm going to go to Brandon. So, Sebastian, I think, 100%. I personally have called for but when we signed Kieran Tierney, I knew how important he was going to be. But I didn't realize how good this kid was and how important he was going to be to our team, fundamentally defending and going forward and leadership and everything else. And I totally agree with you. Last season, we were riding our luck. Aubameyang was carrying out through the season. This season has been Saka and I would say Smith Rowe, but really it's been Saka and Tierney. Those two have been carrying us this entire season, and now they've both been plucked out of our team, and the rest of the team hasn't picked up. I mean, Pepe, he's been very inconsistent. Aubameyang, Lacazette, I mean, they've all been inconsistent. Our entire team has been inconsistent. So I think, yes, now we're really seeing the Arsenal that as the Disky said, we deserve to be where we are in the league. There's a reason why we're 10th. It's because we're an average team. And if you take out those superstar players who in our eyes are superstars because they're the best that we have, I mean, Saka and Tierney, yeah, 100% they're our superstars. You take them out of our team and we're a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 team. Let's be real. Brandon, I know you've been waiting, so I'll let you go, and we're going to close up soon.
Yeah, no, in terms of players actually caring, I think we as a club have shot ourselves in the foot over the years because we pay bang average players such high wages. And I'm going to ask you guys the same question. If you're getting paid, if you're Hector Bellerin, for example, and you're getting paid £120,000 every single week, you're a bang average footballer, are you really going to care if you put in a crap performance if you know you're going to take your 120 bags home a week? Not really.
Yes. Why, Brandon? Because I'm a winner and I want to win. I would be embarrassed because my own pride would be hurt to lose or not perform. And that's the difference with these players. They don't have pride for themselves. Yes, Aubameyang had pride for himself at a certain degree. Sanchez, yes. But Tierney, yes. But Leno, maybe. Okay. But Gabriel, okay. Like, you see how we're nitpicking small players. We can't even say that our entire team is embarrassed to lose. They're not embarrassed to lose, right? And that's the difference.
Then that mentality also comes from the manager as well, because how many times have we seen this season players have played crap and then they're in the following week and then you get like an odd player like Nicolas Pepe, for example, who a decent performance and then the following week he's on the bench again. But Granit Xhaka, it doesn't matter how you play, mate. You're in the starting 11 every single week. So
but squad depth, Brandon,
care a little bit less.
Squad depth. I feel bad for the guy. Like, I totally hear you. Like, you're 100% right. But at the same time, what does he have on the bench? El Neni, Ceballos, come on, man. That's not fair, right? Like, and I, as much as I want him out and I think he's doing wrong things, I also am balanced enough to know that the players and the squad he has, dude, it's probably one of the worst squads that any manager has in the Premier League. Leicester, Wolves, Aston Villa, all those managers, Everton, they have better squads than Arteta. I'm not making excuses for him, but also, how much I dislike Xhaka. You know how what I think about Pepe, but who else is he going to play, right? So I hear you. He's started this culture, but he's also not experienced enough to be a winner, right? And have a Ibrahimovic that looks at the manager and says, like, I'm a winner. I know what it means to win. You don't. That's the problem with hiring an inexperienced manager. We cheaped out as usual.
Could also be he trained with Man City, or he was an assistant at Man City with quality players. I'm sure when he was telling them to do certain things, I know he helped Sterling a lot on the wing, and influenced him a lot on how he would attack on those wings. Do we have is Arteta asking a certain thing from the players, and are they not delivering because of their caliber? Is that something we can look at? Like, Arteta's asking them to do the right things that would actually work if we had quality players like that can execute them. Are these guys just not good enough in that regard?
2 points to that before Brandon goes. The first point is, let's compare Pepe to Sterling. I think both kind of raw talents, but I think Sterling was far ahead of Pepe. And you can't just make Pepe jump from where he was to Sterling. As much as, what I mean, Sterling was probably an 8 out of 10 player before he moved to Man City, and then he took him to that 9.5 out of 10 to make him a world-class player. The other thing I would say to Disky is that look at the players that Sterling is playing with, man. De Bruyne, Aguero, Mahrez. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It makes him a better player automatically because the passes, it's tap-ins, man. I mean, a lot of the times this guy's, what I mean, he's getting one-on-ones, like 4 one-on-ones a game, and none of our players ever get that. That one-on-one that Lacazette got, that's probably one of the first times I've seen in a long time that a player has been fully through with nobody, just one-on-one from the halfway line, right? And that just doesn't happen enough. So yes, I agree with you, but at a certain point, I mean, come on, Arteta can't take some of these players. He can't teach Xhaka how to protect people, how to not make mistakes and stuff.
These guys do Man City tactics. Man City tactics to Arsenal, and it's just not translating because we don't
Yeah,
have the
of course,
quality.
100%. Brandon, sorry I cut you off.
He probably doesn't have the players to do it, to play his system.
Mm.
Doesn't have them.
Yeah, we don't.
Brandon?
It's all right, mate. Great minds think alike and all that. Because you basically just said exactly what I was going to say. So
Cool. Awesome. Cool. So I want to close up. Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you next week. It's always been a pleasure. And yeah, I mean, I just want to kind of go around the table, give our final closing remarks, final closing thoughts. We've had a lot to discuss today. We've gone through a lot of stuff, a lot of emotions. And yeah, I mean, what are your closing thoughts? We'll start with Enrico.
Oh man, I'm still, after yesterday, I don't know what about this club, but we go again next week. We got Sheffield United first game, and hopefully we can pick 3 points against them, pick up some momentum, and then obviously take it from there. But obviously, it's been a great pleasure speaking to you guys, and hopefully next week will be much happier than we are today. So yeah, that's my overall.
Cool. The Disky, final thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with Enrico. I think we need to really focus on momentum right now. Like let's try get this win against Sheffield and just use that momentum. We need to raise the spirits and start winning again, man. Like we need to get that mentality going. So I hope we pick up a good win on Sheffield, and then I hope we just smack Slavia, the racists.
Cool. Brandon, final thoughts?
we need all of us to pray, cross our fingers, our toes, everything in our body.
Sacrifice a goat.
Do whatever we need to do, because I think, to be honest with you, this we need some judge. We need some judge or something. Sprinkle it on the pitch, because this team it needs help. It really does need help. I'm praying so much that this team proves us wrong next week, and we go through and we go on to win the Europa League. But right now, I'm not too confident. In terms of the game at the weekend, I agree with you guys. It'll be good to get a bit of momentum. I kind of think it's a bit of a nothing game, really. Aside from that, just play for pride type thing. But for God's sake, Arsenal, you got to stop letting us fans down. This is just it's getting beyond the joke now.
No, fair remarks. I guess my closing comments would be, we as fans are kind of hanging on a thread right now. I think our hearts are hanging on a thread right now. It's been smashed into pieces, and there's just a little few pieces left really before I think we're all dropping to the ground like Ty did yesterday. And I think, as much as I want to be balanced and I understand that the squad is not good enough, I think if Arteta gets us knocked out next week, there's really nothing, he has no grounds, no credit in the bank. He has nothing, to basically encourage or entice, the fan base to be on his side. I think if he loses, regardless of how we lose, whether it's 1-0, 2-1, whatever it is, if we get knocked out next week, I think, the board needs to come out and obviously fire him and try to recover the situation, because I honestly think that as soon as we fall off this cliff, when we go rolling down, that momentum and the toxicity that this fan base is going to go through in the next few weeks, it's going to be unmatched to what we saw, with Wenger outs and stuff. And if fans were in the stadium right now, I don't think any of this would be happening, wouldn't be acceptable. I think the pressure would be higher. And, I consider those circumstances. But we as a fan base, a lot of people say we reduce our expectations. I think the realistic fans, it's not that we have lower standards. I think we've come to accept that we've been disappointed like this so many times. As we've all said, we keep getting our hearts broken, and we clearly love Arsenal. We spent an hour and a half just talking about Arsenal today, and I think we love Arsenal so much that we're not willing to allow ourselves to be hurt again, right? And that's why we're reducing these expectations, because if we put any expectations, we know that the club is not going to buy the players we need. We know that the club is not going to fix itself. So the only way to protect your heart is to think that we're Europa League level, and until we actually see the club show ambition, we're not going to show that ambition either, because we've been doing that for the last 10 years, and look at where we are. But yeah, that's my closing remarks. I want to go around. Enrico, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter, which is Enrico M18, or on Instagram, which is Matis Enrico. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. I'm not on YouTube at the moment, but
No, that's
we'll see
all
what
good.
happens.
That's cool. You
Yeah.
can find Enrico, Mr. Suave there, and hopefully he'll
Mhm.
be here with us next week. The Disky, want to
course.
shout out anything? This is your opportunity.
Yeah, so I'm starting my new channel, the Disky Assembly, with two of my mates here, also from South Africa, now in California, fusing football, music, culture, and we're all Gooners. And then you can also find me on my Instagram at Ariane Kassam.
Cool. And Brandon, I know you have a wonderful channel. I've been privileged to be a guest on there many times, and it's great content. So this is your time to shout it out.
Yeah, make sure you go and check it out, Brandon AFC TV on YouTube. All the links to my socials are on the information page on the channel as well. So make sure you go check that out for all your Arsenal content. I can't promise you that I'm always when I'm making the content because it's about Arsenal. But I do get some very good guests like African Gooner and others to name as well. So make sure you go and check that out.
Awesome. So, I mean, first of all, I wanted to thank Shaheen and Lev. Unfortunately, they weren't here to be with us today, but I mean, running a great channel here. And again, I mean, whether you're watching this on playback or you're watching this live, go check out the Fabrizio Romano interview. It was absolutely phenomenal. Exclusive content you only get on the Arsenal Lounge. And yeah, it's been a great show. I've had a real great pleasure talking to all of you. It's the African Gooner, and this has been the Arsenal Lounge.